Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
It's election day here in San Antonio and all over the United States. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Alamo City Sportscast. We get going from 10 to about 11:30 Monday through Friday. We want to thank the over 1,000 subscribers that we have. And you know what? People are already watching right now. Hit the like button already. Do it now. Do it often. Share with your friends what we've got going on over here, because after yesterday's show, Joe and I walked out. And what you don't see is that we don't prepare a lot for the show. We just come out here and just talk, right? But after the show, Joe looked at me and said, dude, we're doing good shows these days.
Yeah.
Not that they've ever been bad, but we have so much to talk about when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to the NBA, the Spurs and Wemby and Sochan and Pop and all of those different things. Joe was like, Michael, we are doing a fantastic job. And I will say that this show goes toe-to-toe with any sports show here in San Antonio, whether it be on the radio or it be on a podcast. And in fact, Joe, I would even say I can argue that we're the most entertaining. May not be the most knowledgeable, may not have the best sources, but we are very, very, very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Again, welcome to the Alamo City Sportscast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. Lots to get into today. The Spurs look good for about a quarter there in Los Angeles against the Clippers, up 40-14 after one, then go on to lose the game. And they also lost Jeremy Sochan in the process. There was no Pop. We're going to talk about that game. I brought up the question, Joe, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Spurs would have won that game had Sochan not gotten hurt, right? And people are like, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, Jimenez is backpedaling already. He's backpedaling. We'll talk about that. I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. I love Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift. Okay. I'm a Swiftie. But I'm done with the Chiefs. I'm tired of them winning, man. And I know Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback I've ever seen play. And I know Brady's the GOAT because he has all the rings. But talent-wise, Mahomes laps him.
Yeah.
And again, it happened again, Joe, where the referees looked the other way
when
they should have called a false start on the Chiefs, start. Man. So we'll talk about that. Cowboys, all in, baby. They pulled a trade, and our good friend RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys had a tweet that just said, "This is embarrassing." What an embarrassing trade the Cowboys pulled today. What the hell are they doing giving up a quality draft pick? Now, here's the thing. Maybe it turns it around, right? Maybe this player that they get turns it around. He was a second rounder just a couple of years ago, for crying out loud. Maybe they turn it around. We're going to talk pop culture. We're going to talk about all things going on today. It's election day, Joe. I look at it this way, Joe. No one's going to know who's going to win today. Dude, I was watching the news today.
Yeah.
They were saying that some states aren't going to count their early votes until tomorrow.
They'll have a good idea, I think, of knowing who wins.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you need a certain amount of votes, and it's all tallied.
I'm predicting at the end of the day, it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
I think either Trump is going to blow Harris out or Harris is going to blow Trump out. I don't believe in this whole thing about how it's 49-49 across the board.
Yeah.
Someone is in the lead.
You'll know in the wee hours of the morning. You know, usually they'll announce that so-and-so has won the election by 11:30, midnight, somewhere around there. And then you wake up in the morning and it's like they're still tallying the votes, but this is what happened.
So I was talking about this with my sister, and I've mentioned this on the show before. I wish that the presidential election had uniformity when it comes to how the system works, how everyone had the same voting procedures, everyone had the same voting days, the same type of early voting, all of that stuff. But it's not like that. We are 50 states, Joe, that do it 50 different ways. Some do it by mail. Some do it by in-person only. Some do it by with several days of early voting. Others do it with smoke signals. It doesn't matter. Every state's different. Every state is different in how they count their votes. Do they count them early? Like Texas and Florida, I think they do it right. I think we do it right. Texas and Florida, when the polls close tonight, we're going to have millions of votes. 9 million early votes are going to populate, boom, right off the bat. Because we've already counted. Early voting ended a few days ago, right? Texas knows how that's all gonna unfold because it's already been counted. Other states are like, nah, we're not gonna count votes until 1 a.m. We're not going to count votes until later, early votes or whatever the case may be. The state of Wisconsin, Joe, is giving the leeway to the cities to decide when they're going to count the early votes. No uniformity. It's like, since some cities have said we're not going to count them until tomorrow. What the heck? And that's a swing state.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, go out and vote. If you haven't voted, go out and vote. I know I'm going to vote after the show today. I tried to go vote early in the morning, but the line was long.
So you vote on the day of elections?
No, I was going to vote early, but I just never had a chance. I got too busy. I had a lot of things going on, and my wife was out of town on a work trip, so I had to wake up early to pick up my daughter, drop her off, and then come and do the show, which had me drained, dude. I was on fumes for the last like 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
Joe, I equate that voting on election day to like going to HEB, seeing the short line, seeing the long line, and thinking to yourself, I'm going to go to the long line. Because the busiest day of voting is on election day itself. I was just on a line. There's a site, if you want to go on Twitter, called Voter Hub, and it's basically a breakdown of what's going on. And they were saying that in the city of Philadelphia, 115,000 people voted today in the first hour.
Yeah.
And they're giving like an hour by hour type of thing. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know if it's going to be Harris. I don't know if it's going to be Trump.
Who knows?
But what I believe is that all the polls have been lying, that someone is winning. And what I think ends up happening is, and this is not a political thing, I think what ends up happening is that the reputations of these organizations, whether it be New York Times, well, actually, New York Times is doing a decent job, whether it be ABC, CNN, Fox, or whatever the case may be, they don't want to be wrong. So what they do is they say it's close. It's 48-48. It's 49-49. It's 50-50. They don't want to go out on a limb like the Des Moines Register the other day went out on a limb saying that Harris was doing well in Iowa. But then again, you saw a poll in New Hampshire saying that Trump is doing exceptionally well in a very blue state. I think it's funny. I think that there is, they called it herding. I think that they're lying. I think someone is actually winning. The question is who is it? Who is it? Because if you told me, Joe, that Trump was going to win by a landslide, I'd believe you. If you told me that Harris was going to win by a landslide, I'd believe you. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be like, now I'm not saying that we're going to find out today, but what I am saying is that I think somebody's in the lead. I don't believe that it's tied. Not at all. But again, the polls are open. If you want to be part of our show, by the way, our YouTube stream is open. You know, we're live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. But beyond all that, you can be part of the show. Hi, man, reaches out to us and says, tonight is America's gender reveal. Interesting. Dude, lots of things in the ballots. Beyond all that, is Ted Cruz or Colin Allred going to be the senator for the state of Texas for the next 6 years? That's out on the ballot. Lots of things going on. 9 million Texans voted early, Joe. 9 million. That represented 80% of the people who voted all in 2020. 9 million people. Fantastic. But again, the polls closed. We're going to get the first numbers coming in from some states around 6 p.m. today. And then after that, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., it's going to be like an unfolding going from east to west. And really, there's only 7 or 8 states that are considered to be true battleground states. So we'll get into that.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about San Antonio Spurs basketball a little bit. And yeah, the Spurs got off to a quick start there. First quarter, they came out, punched the Clippers right in the mouth.
Guns a-blazing, baby.
40-14, was the first, after the first quarter, Spurs were leading. But then the Spurs just let the Clippers get back into the game. Second quarter, 34-16. Third quarter, Clippers outscored the Spurs 34-30. Elite just evaporated. And Sochan was out. He only played about, I think, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he was out due to a thumb injury. He was out for the game. At the end of the day, the Spurs had a poor fourth quarter. They couldn't stop the Clippers. Clippers were just, shooting lights out.
Well,
that was it.
Lots to go into. By the way, I'm no longer a Fubo virgin. I subscribed to Fubo yesterday because YouTube TV doesn't carry Bally Sports Southwest. No. So I had to say goodbye to YouTube TV. Watching the game yesterday, Joe, at the end, it's at the new Intuit, right? It's a brand new stadium over there. state of the art, amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go out there to a 40-14 lead, and they were guns ablazing, knocking down threes, playing solid defense.
Yeah.
And we can't discount the fact that the Spurs were without Devin Vassell still.
Yeah.
And then only got 12 minutes of Jeremy Sochan. I brought up the question on Twitter earlier today. Was that the reason why the Spurs lost? And people were like, nah, it's because the Spurs just don't guard the three-point line very well. Nah, it's because of this and the other. I wasn't trying to be facetious, Joe. I wasn't trying to be tongue-in-cheek. I'm being honest. Spurs lost because Sochan got hurt. The Spurs are not a deep team. Not at all. We saw Champagny blow up with knocking down three after three after three yesterday. But when things were rocking and rolling, Champagny was knocking down threes. Wemby was blocking shots, had 9 yesterday, almost had a triple-double.
He had a double-double, yeah.
And the Spurs just couldn't play defense. And who's the best defender on the Spurs right now? You could argue that it's Wemby, but Wemby is great defensively because he's 7'4" and he just swats a lot of shots. But the best man-on-man defender on the Spurs team is Jeremy Sochan. Sochan can guard the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he was out there going after James Harden and held James Harden down. When Sochan left, the defense folded. I mean, there was a night and day difference between the defense folding. And I know people reaching out saying, well, they were catching up when Sochan was still in the game. They chopped the lead from 26-12, and then Sochan got hurt. I get that. But you can't tell me that the Spurs defense would have played just as poorly with Sochan out there. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I've given Sochan crap when it comes to offensive prowess, when it comes to shooting, but I've never, ever downplayed his defensive ability. I've said he's a good defender. Maybe not elite, but he's a very, very good defender. And because of that, you've got to say that had to be something amiss with the Spurs down the stretch in the third and fourth quarter when the wheels kind of came off. John Dyer reaches out to us jokingly on our Twitter account saying, Sochan's the GOAT. Eric Salinas says no, Spurs would have lost anyway. My favorite is that someone referred to the Spurs' love language as being giving up 3-point shots. Patty Jack says Spurs still lose. Giving up threes is their love language. Again, the Spurs blew a very, very, very big lead yesterday. Spurs had a chance of going 4-3 and having a plus 500 record, but are now a game under 500 after the last night's loss. Joe, we talked about it yesterday. We got to talk about it again today. When are we going to tell Wemby to stay away from the three-point line?
They're not. They want him to shoot threes, man. That's what they want him to be. They want him to develop into a perimeter shooter. You've heard Coach Pop and some of the coaching staff. They've been asked. They're like, well, he's not making very many threes. And Coach Pop's like, shoot it.
Joe, he was a 22% three-point shooter going into yesterday's game. Remember you told me, you said, Michael, just 6 games.
It is.
He shot 9 attempts yesterday. He knocked down 2, 22%.
I saw one of the threes. It looked good.
Well, I mean, Sochan has knocked down a 3 before. That doesn't mean he's a good shooter. But you look at it and you look at the numbers, right? He was 9 for 22 shooting, which means he's 7 for 13 from inside the arc and 2 of 9 from beyond it. 13 rebounds, 9 blocks. I had someone reach out to me on Twitter yesterday, and they said, and I laughed, and I was wondering about it. They said that Wemby's stats reminded them of Dak Prescott's stats, calling them hollow junk stats. Now, I didn't retweet it. I didn't like it, but I understood what he was saying. Some of these stats came when the game was already out of hand. You know, when the Spurs were falling behind. I mean, you have Wemby on this team. You're up 40-14 after 1. The crowd is dead silent. You have Wemby on this team. Wemby should carry this team out. Instead, Wemby bricked 3 after 3 after 3. And now there's sirens going off in my head, Joe, that this MFer cannot shoot. He can't. He can't shoot. 22% from 3 after going 32% last year. Joe, there's something wrong, man.
You know who else?
His shot looks good though. The release rotation.
Yeah, I
Maybe
get that.
maybe he's just too tall to shoot.
You know who
threes.
else couldn't shoot? Who couldn't shoot very well when they first came into the league?
Who's that?
But they made their presence known inside the paint. Mr. Robinson.
Yeah.
He developed that over the course of his career, where he had a really good, solid jump shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of prolonged his career a little bit because he had back problems because he used to play a lot with his, back to the basket. He was a stereotypical center going inside the paint and whatnot. But developing that mid-range jumper really did extend his career. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Wemby early on. They don't want him to play with his back to the basket. They want him facing the rim. They want him shooting those three-pointers. They want him shooting jump shots. And his shot doesn't look bad. He just needs to develop that. And again, I'm not willing to say, oh, he's just can't shoot, period. It's still too early. I want to see more out of him. I want to see how he looks in, let's say, 30 games. I mean, we're not even 10 games into the season, like I said. But I understand where they want to go with him. And it looks like more and more they're going to have Sochan be that inside presence inside the paint. They're going to need some other Spurs players to step up and be that presence inside the paint because that's not going to be Wemby.
There were a couple of plays where he faked a three-point attempt.
Yeah.
Player went to go block it. I don't know why. Wemby's 7'4". How are you going to block him? I want to read Big Sean's comment
There
right
it
there.
is. Yeah.
But Wemby would pretend to shoot the ball, pump it up, attack the basket, and dunk. He got 2 dunks yesterday, Joe.
Yeah.
Off of pump fakes from the 3-point line. Big Sean PD coming out saying, rant loading, Wemby, and in all caps, stop jacking up threes. Do that crap during practice only until or unless you actually get good at it. Camp under the rim and wait for the ball, for God's sake. Joe, what I like about our podcast, Joe, and why I like pissing people off is because, I see things early, Joe. I'm a little bit clairvoyant when it comes to things, Joe. Team Tank, Pledger and I at San Antonio Sports Star back in the day. We were the first to see this, Joe. We were the first to go, we need to talk about tanking this season. And no one wanted to be on board. And what happened by the end of the year, everyone was on board. Right?
Team Tank.
I've been saying for 4, 5, 6 years, Pop's probably too old to be coaching. Pop, who missed yesterday's game because of an undisclosed illness. Apparently he's going to be okay, but he's going to miss the next game tomorrow night against the Houston Rockets there in Houston. I've been saying it for the longest time. And guess what? More and more people now, what, Joe? Agree with me. So, Sochan, stop playing point guard. Michael, he needs to develop that game, Michael. He needs to develop that. He's going to get a skill set. Pop knows what he's doing. It ended up being a failure, Joe, to the point where it effed with his self-confidence. I was right. Hey, Sochan, quit shooting the 3 so much, man. You can't shoot. It's a broken-ass shot. No, Michael, he's going to figure it out. He's going to learn how to shoot the 3. And he's gone from having like 6 attempts, 5 attempts per game down to like 2, right? You know why? Because he can't shoot. Why is he playing so well? Because he's kept it out under the basket, right? I was right. Now with Wemby, I got a pot and pan out, and I got the big ass wooden spoon, and I'm clanking it going, everyone sees this game, right? Everyone's been watching Wemby play. We've seen him play 80 games already, right? We've seen him play with France. We've seen him play with the league in France before he was a rookie. What do we all notice? He can't shoot. He can't shoot from distance.
They're saying that you're a fortune teller now. Swiss is saying, Mike all of a sudden can see the future. Okay, Professor X.
It's not so much seeing the future. It's acknowledging what's actually going on. Yeah. Sometimes you need to take off the rose-colored glasses, right? Sometimes you got to take off the glasses and see it for what it is and be honest with yourself. And Wemby can't shoot. And he's never been able to. His stats from 3-pointers in France were bad from 3.
Yeah.
His stats from the NBA's rookie season when it comes to shooting from 3, awful. Yesterday, again, 2 for 9. He is who we think he is. Well, actually, no. He is who I think he is from 3. You all just don't see it yet. What's going to end up happening, Joe, is about, I don't know, January of 2026, people are going to come around and go, man, he sucks at shooting from three. Maybe he shouldn't do that. And do you know what no one's going to do? Look back and go, Jimenez was right. No one ever says Jimenez was right about Team Tank. No one says Jimenez was right about Sochan being a bad point guard. No one says that he gives me credit for saying that he couldn't shoot the three and maybe he should stay 5 feet from the rim at all times, which is what he's doing now. No one is saying that, right? I will let you guys know we're going to have a big conversation about this as time develops because now he has Chris Paul giving him the ball. The whole thing was, well, he couldn't shoot the three because, well, he didn't have the point guard giving the ball the right spots.
Super chat here.
Super chat $4.99 from Sam Salinas saying, quote, at the end of the season, y'all still going to be putting lipstick on a pig. We're only 82 games into the season. Give them time.
No, I'm just saying we're not even 10 games. Not even a quarter of the way in
I'm combining the stats of what he did last year.
I'm telling you, man.
Was he a good shooter from three during the preseason? No.
He makes them. They were saying he makes them during practice, just not in the context of the real game scenario.
And it just hasn't happened yet, And the dude's 7'4". He's taller than everybody on the court. You can't teach height. Why do you have a 7'4" guy shooting 9 3-point attempts?
Here comes your nickname, the Chanclas Fernandez. Then why do you flip flop like a chancla? Then Jimenez.
Oh my goodness, where am I flip flopping today, Fernandez? Hey, he was at the game there at the.
He was. He said it was very nice out there, the Intuits arena.
So let's take a look at some of these stats here from last night's game. Julian Champagnie was 5 for 10 from three yesterday. That is where I might flip flop. Okay, if I'm going to call a flip-flop this year. By the way, the whole Sochan thing is not a flip-flop. It is not a flip-flop because I said I wanted Sochan to play a certain way because I think he'd be better that way. It's not a flip-flop. It's just me being right. That's what that is. Champagnie, I could be wrong. Okay, maybe I am wrong. There have been some games where Champagnie has gone out there and wet the bed, but there have been, for every one game that he's doing bad, he's having 2 good games now, where it was the opposite before. He'd have 1 good game and 2 bad games. He's flipped it around where it's 2-1. Champagnie yesterday 7 for 12, 5 of 10 from 3, playing some decent defense, 21 points. Sochan played only 12 minutes because of that injury. He was 2 for 3 from the field. Only missed shot was a 3-point attempt. Harrison Barnes played 38 minutes yesterday. He was Mr. Cardio yesterday. 38 minutes, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Gross. Wemby, 9 for 22, 2 of 9 shooting from 3, 24 points. Again, people reaching out to me saying that those were hollow stats. Chris Paul looked old, man. I know the stat line says 14 points, 10 assists, but the guy is a turnstile at defense. He cannot guard anybody. It doesn't matter if you're going 14 and 10 if you're being torched. Zach Collins got into a dust-up, man. Zach Collins playing some bully ball. Missed all 5 shots, but you know what? I ain't mad at him.
You appreciate those 4 points, huh?
I appreciate him, wanting to throw fisticuffs. Dude, is he the one most likely to get into a fight in the Spurs? Because Sochan's the one most likely to get into a dust-up, right? But so I think Zach Collins, if there's anybody on this team who's going to throw a punch this season, not like that little bitch slap that CP3 did the other day to Dylan Brooks.
Now, Collins better not be throwing no punches, man. He's going to hurt himself again. He's the glass man, dude.
Keldon Johnson came back down to earth. Although he did shoot 5 for 8, he had 10 points. Malachi Branham, 7 points off the bench. Stephon Castle, I thought played pretty decent yesterday.
20 minutes, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist.
4 of 10 shooting, missed all 3 3-point attempts, but he seems to be playing a little bit better. There were a couple of plays where he did very good defense, but Harden scored the bucket because Harden got away with the fouls.
Oh, he
pushes off, man. And Castle was throwing his hands up like, what the hell? Like, are you going to call any of this? Harden, who didn't do much of anything when Sochan was on the court, and it was 17 points.
My boy Fernandez said he made sure not to tweet during the dust-up because last time he got kicked out of the arena for just, live tweeting while he was at the Frost Center.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but you need to go watch Area 210 podcast, the latest episode.
Yeah.
And we talked about that right off the bat. So I told him, I said, don't let the haters stop you from doing your thing.
How did they know where he was?
That's the question, right? That's the question. I mean, we've been telling people for a while now that Big Brother's always watching, So me working for the feds and all that stuff, it's amazing to see the technology that goes on behind the scenes
Yeah.
on how to find everybody. There's cameras all over the place,
Well,
dude.
I know that some stadiums have those cameras that like
Face
check
recognition.
facial
It's all
recognition.
there, dude.
Um, everyone's like, well, TikTok has your information. They're trying to do Facebook has my information. You know what I do whenever I go get a haircut, and John Dyer made fun of my haircut. He goes, "You go to Supercuts?" No, I go to Great Clips. Okay, okay. I don't. My hair grows so fast, and I'm lucky because I'm 47. I still have all my hair.
Yeah.
But my hair grows fast. I'm not going to spend $40 a pop just to go get a haircut. But anyway, I go to a Great Clips, and I speak into my phone. Great Clips coupon. Great Clips coupon. And guess what pops up on my phone, Joe?
What?
A Great Clips coupon. It pops up on Instagram magically or on Facebook magically. It's like they know I'm there because they do know I'm there because it monitors where you're at, dude. I mean, we spy on ourselves, dude. You can't tell me those cameras don't see what's going on.
Yeah, Matt Gomez in here in the chat. Appreciate you, Matt, for commenting. He says Spurs Sports and Entertainment tracks the influencers. Actually, it's they're Big Brother's watching you all the time. You might just not know it. So when you go through security, right, that's one form of just like, hey, let's make sure these guys aren't taking anything that could have hurt people, right?
Mhm.
The other part of that is if you're in a database, right, and you're in a public setting, and the facial recognition software that they have and all that is looking at you, and they get a hit, they're gonna know where you're at. They're gonna go up there, and you have you could. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that people don't understand.
I don't doubt it.
Especially at these sporting venues and whatnot. They're trying to keep you all safe at the end of the day, and somebody's always watching you, man. That's all I'm saying. You got to be careful what you're saying when you're at an NFL game, when you're at an NBA game, or any sporting venue or big, public gathering. Somebody's always watching.
Tony Arnaldo says that I look at my iPhone and I say Angel Reese is fine. Angel Reese is so fine. A, she is. B, she's not Beetlejuice. She's not going to appear, dude, if I say her name 3 times. Spurs dropped to 3-4. Guess what, Joe? Remember, we take a look at what you need to be to make the play-in tournament? Got to be 4-4. So the Spurs are on the outside looking in right now when it comes to things. There are no games in the NBA today. The NBA is taking the day off so that people can go vote. Spurs back in action tomorrow, taking on the Houston Rockets. Rockets coming in at 4-3. Rockets fair by 6.5 points. Spurs have already played them twice. They won one game, lost another one. They almost came back to win that second game there at the Frostbank Center. Got it within one possession after being down by 20 points. It was a brutal game, but the Rockets are 2-2 at home. We're taking a look at the teams that matter to the Spurs this year. The Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks have lost 5 of the last 6 games, Joe. They're 3-5 now. But the thing is, Joe, here's the thing about the Atlanta Hawks that kind of pisses me off. The way that the lottery works is that if you're a play-in team, doesn't matter what your record is. If you're a play-in team, your draft pick moves up, or should I say downward, if you will. So I'll give it to you this way, right? Atlanta right now is 3-5. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, here are teams that have worse records or equal records to Atlanta, right? Utah, 1-6. Pelicans and Blazers are 3-5, right? Same record as Atlanta, right? That's 3 teams. Then you go to the East, the Bucks are 1-6 somehow. The Sixers are 1-5 somehow. The Raptors are 2-6. The Hornets are 2-5. The Wizards are 2-4. Pistons are 3-5. I've counted 9 teams, Joe, that have a worse record than the Hawks or equal. So you would think that right now the Hawks would have, I don't know, the 10th pick in the draft, right? Because we have that pick, right? No, doesn't work that way. Atlanta's pick is further down. And the reason why it's further down is because if they make the play-in tournament, and they make the playoffs, it affects us.
It does.
We need them to not even make the play-in tournament right now. Tankathon projects Atlanta's pick going number 8 to the Spurs, but again, if they're in the play-in tournament, they have the ability to leapfrog out of there, right? Spurs right now with their own pick would be 11, Joe, 8-11, and we'd have 16 from Chicago. Let's go ahead and end it right there, Joe. I'm happy with that right there, right?
Yeah.
But you got to think, Joe, that Milwaukee is better than their 1-6 record. They have Giannis, for crying out loud. And you would think that Philadelphia, when they get healthier, would start winning games, and then they would push Atlanta further down.
Are the Bucks better than 1-6? I don't know, man. I think the Bucks are going to surprise a lot of people because they're without some of their players due to injury.
Right.
I understand that. But even when they get back and they're healthy, I don't think the Bucks are all that people make them out to be. I mean, you got some early surprises here in the East early on. I mean, the Knicks are 500, the Heat are 500, Nets, Bulls. And then when you get past the Nets, you still have teams that are 3 and 4. I mean, it's still really early on right now. And then you have in the West, I mean, to nobody's surprise, the Thunder, coming out of the gate strong.
So Tankathon says that right now the Spurs have picks 8, 11, 16, 41, 43, and 45.
And what are they going to do with them? That's the problem. You see, the Spurs fans think, oh, we get these high picks, the team's going to pick a really good player in the draft and they're going to bring him onto the team. No, they're freaking not. They might actually be picking these players for other teams and be like, give me 2 second-round picks and you can have them. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily want to go ahead and bring these players that they might get in the draft on the team. Right. The Spurs fans got to come to the realization that is exactly the scenario that might play out. Doesn't matter how good you think this player is,
and that might be why Giannis might want to come out of Milwaukee. Because Chris Gonzalez saying the Bucks are not as good because of Doc. But you're talking about the draft involving the Spurs, right? The Spurs, those picks are not guaranteed to be good players. That's what you're saying, Joe, right? I mean,
you just never know with these players. Are they going to pan out?
It's a crapshoot.
It's a gamble, and sometimes they pan out. Sometimes they don't. You might get a diamond in the rough at 29.
Spurs, the Spurs had diamonds in the rough with Manu in the 50s, Tony in 29, Derek White, DeJounte Murray. But then the Spurs have also had a 17 pick and chose Luka Samanic.
And where'd he go?
Yeah, or 19 or whatever he was.
Speaking of picks,
Josh Primo at 12.
Lonnie is actually rumored to be coming back here to the NBA here soon. Yeah. They were saying, I believe I was watching something on the X, and they were saying that one of the teams that's rumored to be interested in bringing Lonnie back over here is going to be the Nuggets. But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's early on right now, just a rumor being reported by the Stein line. So we'll see.
Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 for your daily coverage. We'll talk about what he has going on today on social media.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, Jeff Garcia has posted some articles about last night's game. Again, the Spurs lost to the LA Clippers after being up 40-14 in the first quarter. Jeremy Sochan left the game early in the first half with a thumb injury. Hopefully it's not too bad. But there are quotes that he has from Chris Paul, Victor Wembanyama, and then Spurs interim head coach Mitch Johnson, who, by the way, took over for Greg Popovich, who is going to be out again Wednesday's game against the Rockets because of some sort of illness or some sort of medical or health issue. We saw that the San Antonio Express News and News for San Antonio said that Pop is going to be okay and that he's resting right now from whatever it is that happened.
I like this comment here by Big Sean. You are what your record says you are. True enough.
True enough. Joe, we got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys
Oh
because
God! Speaking of, you're only as good as your record says you are.
I mean, where are the Cowboys right now? The 3-5? Is that what they are?
Oh yeah.
Jerry Jones made an announcement today saying that it appears as though they're going to put quarterback Dak Prescott, the $60 million man, on the injured reserve list, which means that he will miss a minimum of 4 games because of a hamstring issue. ESPN reporting this morning says the Cowboys will place Dak on the injured reserve due to a hamstring injury sustained against the Falcons. Again, 4 games missed, so that he could come back as early as the Monday Night Football game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and by then, the season would be over. That means we're going to get a lot of Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, by the way, was 5-1 when Dak was injured a while back, so maybe we get some Cooper Rush magic.
Yeah.
Would that be
Cowboys
funny?
Season's all but over already.
Wouldn't that be
man.
funny, though? If Cooper Rush leads this team to something
3
good,
in a row they win or something
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah.
they get on the Cooper Rush train. That would be funny.
The Cowboys might, be inspired and win a couple more games or whatever, maybe with Cooper Rush at the helm, but it ain't going to be enough to really do anything. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this season's a wash, man.
So SB Nation has a headline right now that came out this morning
Yeah.
saying the Dallas Cowboys' bizarre trade is rightfully earning an F grade. So much so that our good friend RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys said, this is so embarrassing. So what did the Cowboys do this morning? Again, trade deadline's coming up, and Jerry Jones, remember, all in before the offseason?
Or Junior had even mentioned or hinted that something was going to happen this week.
We're not going to be sellers. We're going to be buyers is what they're saying, right?
He said we might make a move before the trade deadline. That's what he said.
So the Cowboys, who are 3-5, decided to get Dak Prescott some help when he's on the injured reserve, okay? They went out and traded for Jonathan Mingo. Now, for those of you who don't know who Jonathan Mingo is, he's 23 years old. He's a wide receiver. Played for Ole Miss. Mingo was considered to be a highly touted wide receiver when he was in the draft back in 2023. He was drafted in the 2nd round, Joe. 39th overall. So obviously this guy is relatively talented, right? You would think that he's talented. But sometimes wide receivers are misses, Joe. They're just because you're drafted high. We saw Jalen Tolbert, for example, get drafted out of South Alabama in the 3rd round. He struggled to the point where even though he was a 3rd-round draft pick, didn't even make the team last year, was on the practice squad. He's now on the varsity squad this year. But Jonathan Mingo coming on in, it was a weird trade because the Cowboys gave up a 4th-round pick in exchange for Mingo and a 7th-rounder. A 4th-round pick is not a like throwaway pick. 4th-rounder is play, right? The Cowboys got Dak Prescott in the 4th round, for crying out loud. So those are good picks, and they gave him up for Jonathan Mingo, who has just struggled as an NFL player. So much so that in 9 games this year, 12 catches for 121 yards. The Cowboys traded a 4th-round pick for someone who has caught 121 yards more than me and you, Joe. So in 9 games, 121 yards in 9 games. So I'm going to do some math here. It's like 14 yards per game. Per game. Last year, he had 43 catches for 418 yards. But his catch rate is 50.6%, which basically means gets no separation. And when the ball comes his way, more than likely it's going to go over his head or he ain't going to catch it. So someone mentioned on Twitter, and I saw this on Blogging the Boys today, saying that the Cowboys traded more compensation for Jonathan Mingo than they got in return for Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
A few years ago. Remember, the Cowboys traded Amari Cooper and got, a 5th-round pick for him? They traded a 4th-rounder. So they traded Amari Cooper, who was a solid receiver, still a solid receiver, who was more in his prime at the time. They got a 5th-rounder for him. They gave up a 4th-rounder for Jonathan Mingo, who, again, is just 23 years old, was highly touted coming out of college, but has struggled as a pro. Are they trying to, this would be a great success story if they turn them around, right? We see this with quarterbacks. We see quarterbacks who have gone to bad teams like Baker Mayfield. have success elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
We see Sam Darnold doing well in Minnesota, right? They have bad experiences elsewhere. Maybe they just need a change of scenery. But your
Maybe they're
thoughts,
trying
Joe,
to tank, man, without, coming out and saying we're trying to
you
tank.
could tank without getting rid of your without your draft capital.
Cowboys, like I said before, they don't care about winning. Jerry hasn't cared about winning for the last 28 years. Cowboy fans need to come to the realization of that. He doesn't want this team to win. He just always wants to say, I'm sorry, the team sucks again this year. I feel bad for Cowboy fan, but we got new merch coming out. Go and buy that.
JHNSB reaches out to us on our YouTube stream saying Spurs and Cowboys are the same team. LOL. Chris saying not even an F grade. It's more of a Q as a question mark. Sam Salinas saying Jonathan Mingo, y'all, we're running the tables now.
All in.
Tony Analysis is referring to JNHSB as my burner. And Tony's saying it's Mingo time. Savior for the Cowboys. Again, the Cowboys traded for a wide receiver who was good enough to be drafted in the second round. I mean, Ole Miss, that's an SEC school, but for some reason has done nothing in the pros. Now, maybe, just maybe, he did nothing in the pros because the quarterback play over there sucks. I mean, Carolina is a bad team, arguably the worst team in the NFL, and they somehow beat the Saints this past week because the Saints are just as bad. Maybe he just needs to have a better quarterback, but we're not going to know because his quarterback right now is not Dak. It's Cooper Rush. And then when Dak does come back and he's ready to go week 13 or 14, the Cowboys should just do what they did to David Robinson back in 97. Sit his ass out. Why would they bring Dak back? Let's say the Cowboys are now at 3-5, and let's say best case scenario, they go 2-2 with Dak out, right?
Yeah.
They're 5-7. Already out of the playoff picture. Would you want Dak Prescott back out there?
Nah, man.
No.
I mean, if the season's already a wash, there's no way that mathematically you can even get back into it and even try to get into a wild card. Sit him out, dude. Why bring him in and risk further injury?
Yeah.
Just sit him down, dude. He's done.
Do you think the Panthers right now are laughing?
Probably.
Like, do you think they're on the phone? Like, dude,
we fleeced them.
We fleeced them. I mean, we're making the most out of this bust.
You know what would be insult to injury? If they in fact do get somebody in that fourth round that pans out for them. It'd be embarrassing, man.
The Detroit Lions are beefing it up a little bit, man. They got Zadarius Smith in a trade with the Cleveland Browns. The Lions had an injury to Aiden Hutchinson last month, and they needed to shore things up because, again, they're the best team right now in the NFC. I would say that the Lions, even though they have one loss, are the best team in the NFL right now. They're making a move, man. They're like, hey, we're all in. That is going all in right there. That's going out there and getting somebody who has 5 sacks in 9 games. 3-time Pro Bowler. 32 years old, beefing up the defensive line. They're saying, we have an injury. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to replace that injured guy. We may not replace him with somebody as good, but we're going to put somebody serviceable out there who has experience. The Lions are doing it right, man. The Lions are making the right moves. But the best team in the AFC right now is still the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, I have to agree with Rudy J. Rudy J. I'm in the building with Mike Taylor and Rudy J. Last night, Tampa Bay had every chance in the world to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City was up most of the game, and it was tied. So Kansas City, the Bucs, they went back and forth actually. But the fact of the matter is that the Bucs were down in the fourth quarter. They score a touchdown to make it 24-23. Less than a minute to go in the game.
What did they decide to do?
We're going to kick and go for the field, go for overtime. How do you are on the road against Patrick Mahomes?
You put that in the ref's hands right there, man.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing. The rule of thumb is if you're on the road and you can win the game, you go for the win. Why would you leave it up to an official to flip a coin, give the ball to Patrick Mahomes?
Decide your fate.
How many times did the Bucs get the ball in overtime? Not once. They never got the ball back.
This was an overtime thriller, man. And you know what? That's on the Buccaneers coaching staff and the head coach.
Right.
Why wouldn't you go for the 2, man?
Exactly.
Like, what the F's wrong with you, man? That's like deciding to not go ahead and run it with the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, you know?
Exactly.
Let me pass.
This reminds me of Bill O'Brien when he was the head coach of the Texans. They were taking on the Patriots and had a chance to beat Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah.
And it was 4th and half a yard. And instead of going for it to get the first down and then do victory formation,
Half a yard.
they punted the ball to Tom Brady.
What
Tom
a
Brady did a
dumbass.
2-minute drive to win the game. You go for the win because there's no guarantee you're going to get the ball back, because the way the overtime works is a 10-minute quarter. And if the team that receives the ball first scores a touchdown,
It's done.
game is over.
Yeah.
Again, they got a gift from the officials because the second to last play of the game, before Kareem Hunt scored that 2-yard touchdown to win the game, there was an obvious false start on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The guy was 2 steps backwards.
He was already going back to go and protect Brady. I mean, Brady to
The
Mahomes.
other Brady.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Brady because you just mentioned him, but he went to go back and protect Mahomes, man.
And of course they didn't call anything. Got like 7 yards on the play to get it down to the 2,
man,
and then the game was over.
It's
Brutal, man. It's brutal. But
that's a stupid, boneheaded play. I mean, the Buccaneers. If we can talk about teams that are better than what their record is, the Buccaneers are
4-5. They're a good team, man.
They are a good team.
They're a good team. But look at the Chiefs yesterday. This is why you go for 2. The Chiefs had 100 more yards of offense than the Bucs. The Chiefs had the ball for 41 out of 66 minutes. Dude, 41-25. The Chiefs had 28 first downs to 17. The Bucs had no business being in that game. You go for the win, man. It's 2 yards. You go for the win. And they didn't do it.
They didn't do it, man. That's one of those plays I bet you that coach had again. He'd be like, man, I'm going to go for it.
And Todd Bowles, who's a good coach, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What were you thinking, man? NFL Power Rankings released today. Joe, we like to do this on Tuesdays. Do we want to go with USA Today? Do you want to go with CBS, ESPN, or do you want to go with who do you want to go with?
Let's go with CBS.
CBS Sports Power Rankings, brought to you by CBS Sports. Pete Prisco. A lot of people don't like Pete Prisco, but I'm all right with him. Let's go down let's start at the bottom. The worst team in the league right now they have as the Oakland Raiders. They have the Saints at number 31, but we still beat the Cowboys, baby. We still beat the Cowboys. They've lost 7 in a row. Dennis Allen fired as the head coach yesterday. Dallas Cowboys right now ranked number 25, dropping 5 spots. And Pete Prisco of CBS Sports says it's over for this team. No chance to turn things around, especially with Dak out in the IR.
Yeah,
big changes are coming.
They're done.
So let's go to the top 10. How about this, Joe? Number 12. CBS Sports has the Houston Texans at number 12, despite having a 6-3 record. Joe, see, this is why you and I have the best sports talk show in San Antonio. Okay? This is why you and I have the best sports talk show in San Antonio. What have you and I been saying over the past few weeks? That this Texans team is a bad team that has a good record.
Well, they've beaten some bad teams.
I know we say you are what your record says you are, right?
Yeah.
This is one instance where it's false.
Oh, man, you better not tell that to Pledger.
Dude, I love Pledge. He's my boy, and I miss him. This Texans team sucks, dude.
Oh, my.
Okay, I take that back. They're overrated. Maybe they don't suck. I take that back. I'm gonna reel those words back in.
They're a good team.
No, they're
team.
an average team. So much so that despite their 6-3 record, they've outscored their opponents by just 1 point. They let bad teams hang around. They lost to the Jets, Joe. I know it was Thursday night. I know it was on the road, but they lost to the Jets and they got their asses handed to them by the Jets.
Well, Texans win with their 6-3 record. They're still leading the AFC South, man.
AFC South is just trash.
Who do they got? They got the Colts, you got the Titans. And the Jaguars.
Yeah, so We got Trevor Lawrence to play twice. You got 6. They should go 5-1 against that division every time, right? But CBS Sports saying they can't protect C.J. Stroud, and that Stroud's struggling because of it.
Man.
Top 10, they have the Chargers, who are 5-3, moving up 6 spots as the 10th best team in the NFL. They have the Eagles at number 9, 6-2, 1 game behind the Commanders in the NFC East. At number 8, the Packers just hang around, man. They just hang around. They are winning games despite the fact that Jordan Love has not been healthy all year long.
It says a lot about that team, man.
Resilience.
But even though they're 6-3, they're still kind of on the outside looking in because you got good teams in both the Vikings and the Lions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough division right there, that NFC North.
Well, because the Vikings are number 7 with a 6-2 record as well. The Vikings kind of finally got back in
the surprise, Mike, of the season to me has been the Falcons, dude. The Falcons have
I would
been
not want to play
team.
them. I would not want to play them in the playoffs.
No, dude.
They're
a scrappy team, bro.
Imagine winning your division, right? You win your division.
Yeah.
And you're excited about going 12-5, 11-6.
Falcons.
And then the Falcons come on in at 10-6, 10-7,
bro.
coming on in. And Kirk Cousins.
Primo, man.
Dude, we've always said that Kirk Cousins was white Dak Prescott and Dak Prescott is black Kirk Cousins. Dude, who's a better quarterback, Joe? Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott?
Kirk Cousins right now,
Kirk
man.
Cousins.
He's leading his team to victory right now. The Falcons actually could have a better record than 6-3 because they lost a couple games there that were really close games that they could have easily won. Just little mishaps, mistakes here and there.
6-3. They're just hanging around.
They're leading their division.
Leading their division because the Buccaneers, who their biggest comp, lost yesterday.
Yeah.
Now have a 2-game lead in the NFC South. Eagles 9, Packers 8, Vikings 7, the Steelers at 6. 6-2. The Steelers are smoke and mirrors, man. They're somehow winning games, and I don't get it.
They're leading their division, the AFC North, Mike.
I don't get it. One of their losses, didn't they lose? Okay, I don't know.
They're better than the Ravens right now, surprisingly.
Well, Ravens are 6-3. Here's the weird thing about the Ravens. They're 6-3, right? They lost 2 games this year because they had a player drop an open pass.
Yeah.
Remember that one pass to Derrick Henry? Get the first down, win the game? He bobbled a pass that was straight to him that he has caught a million times before. Other team gets the ball, they lose. This last game, first down pass was dropped by a wide receiver who was wide open, Joe. Forced the Ravens to punt. They lost the game. 2 dropped passes where you were wide open cost the Ravens 2 games this year. They're 6-3. They should be 8-1. According to CBS Sports, the 4th best team in the NFL right now is led by Jaden Daniels and has a former Cowboys defensive coordinator as the head coach. Talk about the Washington Commanders, 7-2. All they do is win. Jaden Daniels is obvious going to be the rookie of the year.
There's a good comment here.
Dak is Zach Collins.
Booty crumbs, man. Booty crumbs.
Can Jaden Daniels be the MVP this year? Because you're taking a team that was in the dumps last year and taking them to a 7-2 record. I know he missed a game. But how do you not say that he's not the most valuable? Doesn't mean he has the best stats. You know, the best stats might belong to a Derrick Henry or a Lamar Jackson. But who is more valuable? Because sometimes it's about who gets the best stats, right?
Who's the most valuable
The most
player
valuable player.
Yeah, to your team.
You take Jaden Daniels off that team, who are they? What are they? And I know that they run a lot more than they pass these days. But Jaden Daniels has been leading that offense. Buffalo Bills at number 3, 7-2 record. Lions at 7-1 at number 2. Again, they picked up a 3-time Pro Bowler today.
I do like this right here. I think this is the best meme I've seen so far of Jerry.
He's a big old clown.
The NFL's biggest clown.
Mm-hmm. Number 1 team in the CBS Sports Power Rankings saying, yeah. It's the Kansas City Chiefs at 8-0. They somehow just win. And again, Todd Bowles didn't go for 2. And, they didn't play to win. They played not to lose. And that's what happens when that happens.
Who's Washington's head coach again?
Former Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. Brutal.
They didn't want it, man. They said, no, bro, you got to go. You got to go. And look what he's doing. Is he a better coach than McCarthy? The record says he is.
The record says so. First year, too,
Yeah.
with a rookie quarterback who makes like $55 million less than Dak next season.
Man. Jerry said, nah, I'm going to keep McCarthy. That's my dog. I'm going to roll with McCarthy. And look at where he's taking you, man.
Very nice. Our chat is powered by MCS General Contracting. They bring us that diamond hard concrete. Chris Lehan is a Saints fan just like me, but what we're cheering for, we're such big fans, Joe. We're cheering for losses because we need that draft pick. 774-9155 is their number. Let's play their commercial, man, because they've been with us since day one. They do a fantastic job slinging that concrete, baby.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Very nice. That diamond hard concrete, baby. I'm a customer myself. They did a fantastic job at my home. They did a sidewalk. They extended my landing, and they put up some steps. They did a fantastic job at my home. MCS General Contracting, man. I stand by them. They do an amazing job. If you need a slab, pool, pickleball court, basketball court, parking lot, give them a call. 210-774-9155. Joe, let's talk about some pop culture, Joe.
Yeah, you want me to do the entertainment bump?
Sure. Times are a-changing, Joe, when it comes to entertainment. And we're seeing this right now with Saturday Night Live, because Saturday Night Live is no longer making fun of celebrities. They're making fun and doing parodies of TikTokers.
Oh, gosh.
And that's how they're making things different. They're making it more so that the youth are watching that, because what we hear from people who are our age, they say, oh, Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny since back in the day. I remember when it was Chris Farley and Adam Sandler and all that stuff. And that is just a sign of you getting old. If you start doing that, you're just old.
Yeah, no, I can't stand those social media influencers, though. When you're out in public and you're somewhere, like anywhere in a public setting.
Right.
Hey, guys. And they're over here. I'm just like, God.
Well, that's one style of it all. But the other style of it is just people who have really good content.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Like we talk about the Camino Real girls, right? That's good content right there. They're hot, but it's good content. This guy right here, if you could show my screen, Keith Lee has nearly 17 million followers on TikTok. He does food reviews. People say, go to this one restaurant, mom and pop restaurants. He goes all over the country to do these food reviews. He's on hiatus right now. And it gets millions of views, Joe. And he goes to like Las Vegas, goes to like people say, this is a very good restaurant. Just people don't know about it. He shows up, reviews the food. If he gives it a thumbs up, dude, those places get just swarmed with people.
It's funny. You're talking about this, and I just saw my daughter loves South Park, right? So we just saw an episode of South Park. And I mean, I've seen South Park, but this was funny. It was all about social media influencers, right? So the whole town is having these little pop-ups, restaurants come out in their downtown district. And the funny thing is that all the people in the town, they're like, they want to eat for free. So they're like, you don't know who I am? I'm a social media influencer, so they can get free meals. And then they're all going back to their houses, and they're like, oh, wait up, I got to do my Yelp review. And then one of the owners of one of the restaurants, he got so tired of them always trying to get free meals and all this. And he's like, you know what? F you guys. And he just kicks them all out of his business. And then there was like a riot downtown, and all the Yelpers got together to destroy all the businesses and stuff. But it just goes to show in like today's society, like the influence that these social media personalities have on these restaurants getting recognized, and it's big business for them, because if they get somebody like this guy right here and he writes a good review about your business, that can translate into a lot of money.
Part of his popularity, there's a certain cadence by which you talk, and he talks like this. He goes, "I'm over here. I'm reviewing this restaurant in Las Vegas. They say that it's really, really good. I've never been in there. Let's give it a try." He has a very interesting cadence when it comes to how he speaks, the momentum by which his words come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy his videos because he says, if you're going to go to like Miami, go eat at this restaurant. Why go to the chain? Why go to the Riverwalk in San Antonio? Why not go to this taqueria
Little
instead?
mom and pop places, man.
Well, anyway, he's in the news right now because he announced that he's leaving his hometown of Las Vegas. He's moving to Texas. Didn't say where, but he explained on TikTok that he's taking a hiatus from his reviews because he's moving to the Lone Star State. So we can see more of Keith Lee in the state of Texas reviewing foods, reviewing restaurants and whatnot. And the way that he reviews them, Joe, he doesn't go in there and eat at the restaurant and make a big old production out of it.
Yeah.
It's not about me.
About the food.
He gets the food to go and he eats it in his car. Every review that he has is in the front seat of his car going, I went inside, I got some takeout. They said to do this sauce, and he has revived so many different businesses. I know a lot of influencers get a lot of grief. This guy, I'm okay with, man.
Yeah, the worst social media influencers that have ever been around are the people that go to Disney, dude. When you're in Disney, you just want to have vacation with your family, chill out, relax. And these guys, they're on the rides with you and they're talking like they're live streaming. Some of them are, and they're, hey guys, this is so-and-so with, whatever outlet, whatever, channel that they have. And we're on the ride and they're bringing the camera up and showing everybody. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want my face to be shown out to strangers because I'm not signing a disclaimer. You didn't ask me if it was okay. I'm just here on vacation with my family, and so that becomes annoying. That's what I'm saying. But this guy's a little different, man. I like that.
Jade SB reached out to us and says that I tried pulling out the Alamo City Sportscast card to pay for his pedicure. Midtown Texas says, I come here for Mike's cadences. If we can go to God. 2 bucks real fast. Joe, I have a girlfriend, Joe, little nugget. And she thinks it's funny that you and I do a podcast together. She thinks it's funny that people actually watch it.
Yeah.
Right. And I mentioned to her, she didn't know me back in the day when I was at Sports Star. And that was a very popular show back in the day. In fact, the rating showed it was the highest rated show on Sports Star at the time. You and I go some places, Joe, and we get recognized from time to time.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a popularity thing. It's just, people recognize the show or whatnot. And she thinks it's funny. She's like, it doesn't happen. And I'm like, it happened more often when I was on the radio, but every once in a while you go someplace and somebody says hi or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. And she thinks it's the silliest thing. And she's like, what do you think? Are you some sort of influencer? I'm like, no. People follow on Twitter, they recognize you and whatnot. The funny thing is that some of the people who hate me the most on social media meet me in person, and guess what, Joe? What happens?
You say they like you.
They love me. They love me. They're like, oh, he's not an ass. He's just opinionated. Very, very funny, dude.
Oh, my God.
Joe, I am trying to figure out where I'm going to watch the election results tonight. I have a tradition that my friend doesn't want to do today. We have every 4 years we get together to watch the presidential results come in, and we go to the Angry Elephant Bar. It's a Republican bar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I my Republican friends think I'm too liberal. My liberal friends think I'm too conservative. Whatever. But I don't want to watch the results at home.
Yeah.
I want to go to a bar. I think I'm going to go to the Angry Elephant. If people want to join me today, reach out to me on social media. Let's go grab some beers. Let's get together at 7:00 and watch the results come in.
Yeah. I'm going to stay home, man. I went to, full disclosure, I had to call my shift early at work yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I had a bad fall over the weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, how did that happen? What
I just tripped, dude. Like, I was walking and the lights were off in front of the house, and there's like a driveway and the sidewalk there, and my foot just got caught and I tripped, fell, and I didn't break nothing. But in my
Oh, so there was no hairline fracture? Or
no,
anything?
I went to the ER yesterday during
Dude,
work because I
I'm
was
looking
like,
at your
"Man, this
leg right
hurts."
now,
It
dude.
looks jacked.
It looks jacked up.
I'm
man.
telling you, man. It looks worse than it is, because the bruising's setting in. But they took X-rays and whatnot. They're like, "Hey, man, you're fine." They gave me some muscle relaxers. I have the day off of work. They told me just to get some rest and I'll be fine. But man, that was a nasty fall, dude.
Joe, it looks like your leg got the treatment that Kathy Bates did in Misery.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks bad.
I'm looking
dude.
at your knee right now, Joe. You got to take a photo of that and post it online. It is
jacked.
bad,
Yeah, I
Joe.
know. And my hip was hurting me too, and they were like, "No, you're fine. You don't got nothing wrong with you." But I did get to go see the hottie doctor around the corner, though. She was there. Every time I go there, she's there.
Joe, I'm looking at, the hottie doctor was there?
She was there, dude. I was like, "Oh, man, she's here again."
Joe, do you think this is bad for Patrick Mahomes? If you were Patrick Mahomes' parents, you want to show my screen real fast?
Sure.
Patrick Mahomes has an image to make money, right? His mom wearing a MAGA hat at last night's game. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes wants to tell her and his brother, Jackson Mahomes, who gets in trouble for groping women, to maybe stand down? And I'm not, and maybe he has every right to be whoever he wants to be, by the way. Like Joe Rogan came out yesterday and endorsed Trump. That's great. Whatever. Pick your fighter, right?
Yeah.
But do you think it's smart? Do you think Patrick Mahomes wants that on him? What do you think, Joe?
I don't think I mean, that's just kind of like unwanted attention. That's getting attention from something that, your family member is doing. I mean, it's hard too, man. At the end of the day, I mean, what do you tell your mom? I mean, that's your mom.
Well, and we know that Brittany Mahomes is a supporter of Trump as well,
Yeah.
right? But if you're an athlete, the whole point of being an athlete is to make money off of advertising and stuff like that, right? Not alienating. I don't want him to say that he's a Harris supporter either.
Yeah.
But for the biggest superstars out there, Joe, we saw LeBron James come out and support Harris. He shouldn't have done that. I think that certain people, Popovich doing his thing and his rants, we go on 2 bucks, by the way. I think Popovich with the rants that he goes on, I'm not the shut up and dribble kind of guy. You have a voice and whatnot. But I'm just thinking about it like from the Michael Jordan perspective, the Charles Barkley perspective of Republicans buy shoes too. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that to your brand? I mean, we're a divided country. We're 50-50. There's going to be half the crowd, half of America are going to be rejoicing tonight or tomorrow whenever the election comes to an end, and the other half are going to think that the world's coming to an end. But why would anybody with a big name? I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James. I'm talking about players like of that ilk. I question why they would do that, because it's kind of a weird thing. I've had people today reach out to me and say that they refuse to vote, that they didn't like any candidate, and they're like, we're not going to pick one.
You can have the write-in, like you can put a name there. I'm voting for this person.
Oh yeah, so I posted on Twitter earlier today, the write-in from NFLmemes.com.
Yeah. If
you want to show the screen on this one, says, who are you voting for? And just the writing candidate is Cowboys suck. Recapping today's show so far. It's Sam Salinas. Let me say that's. Sam Salinas says, thank you, Mike. You didn't stop at just questioning Republican support. That's where most people in your shoes stop. Never questioning the same support for Democrat support. Appreciate it much. I think that there's certain athletes that are so big that they need to be out of it, right? There are going to be celebrities out there. We saw Joe Rogan. We saw, today I saw Reese Witherspoon give support to somebody, and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and all that stuff. And it's like, I get it, okay? But Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are just celebrities, right? I think there's certain players that need to be above the fray. And I think that if you are the figurehead of the league, if you're like on the Mount Rushmore of the league right now, you should probably sit it out. If you retire, that's fine. Just sit it out. Because why alienate it? I mean, look at the number of people who got pissed off about Colin Kaepernick, right?
Yeah.
I know some people who've stopped watching the NFL, never came back, right? It became too big of a deal. But either way, election's going to be over tonight. Someone's going to win by a blowout. I don't know which one's going to be, but someone's going to win by a blowout.
That would be something, dude. You put that on the ballot.
Vote for these nuts.
Gosh.
These nuts. Jeremy Sochan, Joe, with the thumb injury. Do you think that the Spurs are going to go winless without Jeremy? He does lead the league and lead the team before the injury in all around effort in points per game, ganas, intensity. You know, he's growing on me.
Well, let's put it like this: they ain't got no Jeremy tomorrow. You give him a shot against the Rockets at 7:00.
Yeah,
probably not. Then they go play the Portland Trailblazers, and they're all right. They're not all that kind of on the Spurs level. The Spurs play the Jazz again. After that, then they play the Kings. Spurs could actually win a couple of these games here. You know, I don't know if they'll win against the Rockets, but you can never discount the team. Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody will show up and, you know, take that spot. And, you know, if Jeremy's not healthy enough to play. But again, I mean, the Rockets, again, is going to be a good test for this team because I think they're kind of right there on the cusp with the Rockets. The Rockets are just a little bit better than the Spurs when it comes to finding out ways to win the games when it comes to crunch time.
They're more physical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're more physical, dude. And it shows, especially like at the end of the games, they really start upping their defense, putting that pressure on them. The Spurs start making mistakes. But they've shown that they can compete and they can win games against the Rockets. So we'll see, man. See what team shows up.
Now,
that's the thing.
I found it interesting, though, when he got hurt and the Spurs came back in the third quarter, you saw Stephon Castle out there.
Yeah, we did.
I thought Stephon Castle would be like the replacement for Vassell.
No,
they had him. They had him as a replacement for Sochan yesterday.
He plays solid D, man. The kid's. I'm telling you, this kid's a special kid, dude.
Yeah, he needs to figure it out offensively. I mean, he hasn't been a shooter at any point in his career, but
he has shot creation. Yeah, he has shot creation.
He could create a shot. Yeah. If you can turn him into, he's still growing. I see flashes of Sean Elliott in him. Well, like past Spurs.
He's a better version of Lonnie Walker.
Yeah,
you know, a better two-way player.
You know that he's not going to suck defensively.
Oh no, man!
He might not get the call, but he's not going to suck.
Kid gets after it, man. You like that motor that he has? He has a high motor.
Mm-hmm. Tony O'Nallis reminding everybody to hit the like button. Says hit it more than once, baby. Love it.
Hit that like button.
You know what? And give a brother a call, man. You know, here's my promo for myself here. My number's 210-508-0369. Reason for that is I've been in business for 19 years. Joe, not only retirement accounts, but I also do just straight up investment accounts. People who want to save for like a house, invest for the future, maybe 10 years down the road, or whatever the case may be. I had a client of mine just yesterday wire me some money to do a mutual fund portfolio. It was a large chunk of money too. He sold a house, and he sent me some money from that house sale. And I said, Michael, give me my money back in 5 or 6 years. I don't want to look at it right now.
Yeah.
So I invested it on his behalf. I now have over $16 million in investments, Joe, that I now manage. I also do life insurance, long-term care, and disability. Been doing this for 19 years. Started my practice back up again during COVID. So that $60 million that I have invested has been the last 3 years. 210-508-0369.
Yeah, make sure you call Mike. I was looking at a picture I took of my leg yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And looking at it today, I think it looks worse today than it did yesterday.
It does, dude.
I'm like, man, it looks like it should be cut off or something, dude.
It looks like you haven't had circulation in that leg since 21, dude.
Jeez, bro. I mean, it's just that big old bruise. It looks bad. I'll post a picture for you guys to see it. It looks jacked, dude.
Our good friend RJ Ochoa. He has been he's one of the biggest Cowboy fans that you'll see out there.
Yeah, he is.
He's young, Joe. Yeah. RJ's, I believe, still in his 20s, late 20s.
Ain't even hit the the 30-year mark yet, man.
Married, has a kid, does a fantastic job. Great guy. But one of the things he mentions is that he doesn't remember the Cowboys ever winning a Super Bowl.
How old is he? Almost 30?
I think he's right around there. Yeah,
That's why, because they've been a team that hasn't won anything for, what, 28 years?
You need to be about 33 years old to remember it, right? For him to come out and just say, this is embarrassing about the Cowboys trading for Jonathan Mingo, giving up a 4th-round pick. They got Mingo and a 7th-rounder in return.
That's the best they can do, I guess.
And I think Cowboy fans are fed up with Jerry Jones to the point that I don't think there's a return. We talk about the Cowboys being that team that has a loyal fan base that's going to watch no matter what. I think next season, Joe, and the rest of this season will be the first time that we're going to see a decline in fandom. I'm not going to say it's going to be like 50% decline.
Yeah.
Joe, it's coming, Joe.
You know what's the funniest thing I've seen today? There it is on screen. There's a guy that's always talking Cowboys. Magruder? Yeah, he's funny, dude. And look at what he puts. Cowboy fan. You know, the costume.
Yeah.
Includes unrealistic expectations. Yankee and Lakers hats. Smash TV. Hilarious season. Ending trick play. Not included 21st century NFC championship game appearance.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny, dude.
Oh, God, man.
You know, and it's funny because people reach out to me and go, well, Michael, your team sucks too, right? My team's lost 7 in a row. Derek Carr got hurt. Olave got hurt. Everybody got hurt, dude. Rashid Shaheed got hurt. Taysom Hill got hurt. The Cesar Ruiz got hurt. Like the entire team got hurt, right?
Did you see that meme that they had going around with Derek Carr?
Yeah.
That said he's lost to every NFL, only quarterback to lose to every NFL team.
That's funny.
on different teams, you know.
My team had no expectations though. Cowboys did.
Geez.
But I look at it, Joe. I, as a fan, need to cheer for my team to lose.
You do. Chris Leha was saying the same thing. You think you all are on the same page. And I thought it was quite humorous when I was talking with Leha, and he was like, yeah, man, they just fired our quarterback. Good. I was like, dude, you had a little mic in you there. Good.
Joe, I just got a text message from the girl.
Yeah.
The girlfriend. And she is texting me that she wants to go to the UT football game this weekend.
You got to talk with Sean, bro.
Not UTSA. UT Longhorns.
UT.
They're taking on Florida.
Oh, I thought
How much is that going to set me back?
I was going to say, you should go to UTSA, man. Sean's been waiting.
Very nice. By the way, Joe, I know that you and I don't prepare for the show. Next week, going to need to have a guest host for a couple of days, Thursday and Friday. So we need to get Fernandez on or somebody on for Thursday and Friday of next week.
Get my boy John Dyer in here.
There you go. Thursday and Friday of next week. I am going to Miami, Florida.
Okay.
Just booked a trip to go over there, spend a couple of days over there, hang out, visit with some family, that type of stuff.
Nice.
So very, very nice. I'm actually thinking about working from time to time in Orlando. I have a friend of mine former business partner, who says, Michael, come out here a couple of days a month and do some business out here. My business is expanding, dude. Doing very, 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 very well, man. But what people don't notice is that I work very odd hours in finance. The best time I work sometimes, 1 in the morning, dude. 2 in the morning. My clients call me, go, did you email me at 2 a.m.? That's right, I did. Damn straight I did.
1, 2 in the morning.
But dude, weather is getting chillier outside. It's going to be in the 70s as a high beginning next week. Dude, last night got 2.25 inches of rain in my house yesterday. It was brutal.
You know what's funny here? They're asking, Tony Ronaldo is asking when the next Alamo City Sportscast event is going to be. Well, I'm
thinking a Christmas party, dude.
Yeah, well, we'll see, dude.
I think a Christmas party, just something like that. That'd be nice.
And look at this, is funny. Cowboys suck. Instead of I voted.
I mean, isn't that the same thing, right?
Oh God.
But let's go ahead and call it a show. Everyone, don't forget to give some love to MCS General Contracting if you have any concrete placement needs. Again, the polls are open today. It is an election day in the United States. You have the right to vote. You have the right to not care. But again, it's finally over, Joe. I'm not going to get those text messages asking for $5 for calling Allred or Ted Cruz. I'm not going to get any
On the phone,
Kamala
man.
Harris or or Donald Trump text messages,
Right. Text
RNC,
messages,
DNC.
emails.
We're not going to see commercials anymore. You know, where they try to scare you. Like those are gone. Those are gone. Polls are open. If anyone wants to go watch the election results with me, I'm going to say Angry Elephant Bar, Joe. 281, the one right next to Root Pub.
There you go.
I'll be there tonight. If you want to reach out to me, DM me or shoot me a text, 210-508-0369. We can meet up. I'd like to go get some food and drink out there. Everyone have a fantastic day.
Oh, forgot. Monday, no show because I'm off. Federal holiday.
What holiday is that?
Veterans Day, I think.
That means I'm off on Monday.
Yeah, I'm off on Monday. And my aunt was telling me she needs me to take her to Austin or something like that. So I might have to see what we're gonna do about that.
Yeah. So the trading holidays, the way that it works, what days will the stock market be closed? Because those are the days that I'm closed. Let's see here. Nope, I'm open. So you're off. I'm working.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Everyone have a fantastic day. We'll be back tomorrow. This is the Alamo City Sportscast, and thank you again to Jeff Garcia, MCS General Contracting, and give me a call for your financial needs, 210-508-0369.